The topic of Sino-US relations dominates geopolitics today, but U.S. China competition is not defined by cultural differences or the people of the two countries. Rather, it is defined by two competing ideologies: communism and democracy, totalitarianism and freedom. The relations between China and the United States go back more than a century. Americans helped China establish its earliest higher education institutions, which nurtured generations of Chinese scholars, scientists, and social elites, and have contributed to the development of modern China. Hi everyone, welcome to Lei's Real Talk. I'm Lei. I started this series called China Before the CCP, and during the research, I found that the United States has contributed to modern China in many ways. So I decided to make videos about Sino-US relations before the CCP. This is the first one, and I hope the historical perspective of this relationship will pique your interest. Traditionally in China, education mostly took the form of private tutoring or small classes, where the teacher maintained a one-on-one relationship with the students. Large education institution is a Western concept. China's institutions of higher education were established over 100 years ago by Americans. In 1908, the U.S. Congress passed a bill to reduce the indemnity payment from the Qing Dynasty government for the Boxer Rebellion by $17 million. The United States government started remittance payments in 1909, and the Theodore Roosevelt administration used the fund to establish the Boxer Indemnity Scholarship Program that sent Chinese students to study in the United States. In 1911, Tsinghua College was founded in a royal garden as a preparatory school for the U.S.-bound Chinese students. Faculty members for the sciences were recruited by the YMCA from the United States. The school's motto was and is self-discipline and social commitment through virtue. In 1925, the school established a 4-year undergraduate program and a research institute. In 1928, Tsinghua changed its name to National Tsinghua University. Beijing University, formerly known as Yenching University, was established by American missionaries in 1919 through the merger of 4 Christian schools over 5 years, from 1915 to 1920. The school's motto has been freedom through truth for service. John Leighton Stewart, a missionary born in China, who later became America's last ambassador to China before the communists took over, was the school's first president. In less than 10 years, Stewart built Yenching University into one of China's best colleges, with a beautiful campus in traditional Chinese architectural style. Since the CCP took power, Beijing University and Tsinghua University continue to be regarded the most prestigious schools in China. Americans also helped China build its first medical school. American industrialist John Davison Rockefeller had been thinking about building a university in China. He sent people to China 3 times from 1908 to 1915 to conduct surveys. Afterwards, the Rockefeller Foundation made a pledge to build a medical college and hospital that integrate education, practice, and research. The foundation planned $1.5 million to build the Beijing Union Medical College, but ended up spending $7.5 million. In 1921, a total of 14 buildings were completed, and medical equipment was imported directly from the United States, making the school and its hospital a world-class medical facility at the time. In September 1921, the opening ceremony of Beijing Union Medical College was held. Over 100 scholars and educators from the United States, Canada, France, the United Kingdom, Japan, Korea, the Philippines, and China marched on campus in their academic robes. The procession was accompanied by a marching band and was similar to the academic processions held at commencements in the West. Among the guests were renowned physician Dr. Wu Lianti and wife, a Malaysian Chinese doctor who is famous for inventing the N95 mask, Dr. Franklin C. McLean, head of the University of Chicago Medical School, Dr. Edward Hicks Hume, founder of Yale in China Hospital in Hunan, Dr. William H. Welch, the first dean of Johns Hopkins Medical School, Dr. George de Schweinitz, an ophthalmologist and former president of the American Medical Association, as well as Florence Sabin, a medical scientist and the first woman to hold a full professorship at Johns Hopkins School of Medicine. John Davison Rockefeller Jr. traveled from the United States to China on behalf of his father and the Rockefeller Foundation for the opening ceremony. His wife and daughter accompanied him on the trip. China's then Foreign Minister Yenching said at the ceremony, "At no other time in our history has there been such a ceremony that brought together so many distinguished visitors, renowned scientists, prominent educators, and religious leaders from Europe, the United States, Japan, and all over China to our capital. We're honored and proud." I don't think the Chinese Communist Party would pull off such an event today, even though travel has become so much easier. It may be able to use money to bribe some people to attend, but it wouldn't be a serious academic event that attracted so many scholars from around the world. Also in attendance at the opening ceremony was a newly admitted medical school student who later became the most famous Chinese doctor. Her name is Lin Qiaozhi, an obstetrician and gynecologist who delivered 50,000 babies in her career. Dr. Lin was the school's first female resident and the first Chinese to hold the position of head of OBGYN at the hospital. Dr. Lin was also known as a woman of principles. After the CCP took power, the regime actively recruited accomplished individuals to join the party. Dr. Lin was one of their targets. The first party secretary of Beijing's municipal government went to her hospital to see her. She declined the meeting. When the CCP invited her to attend the People's Republic of China's founding ceremony on October 1, 1949, with the CCP leaders, she turned them down. In the early 1950s, Mao Zedong sent a car to take Dr. Lin to Zhongnanhai, the leadership compound, for a meeting with him and China's premier. The two most powerful men in Communist China asked her to join the CCP and agreed to give her time to think it over. But Dr. Lin said she didn't need time, as she knew her answer. She told them that she was a Christian and the CCP is an atheist organization, so she couldn't join. She said that when she was young, she had promised God that she would not join any political group or organization unless they were medical related. Her honesty, directness, and faith made the two communist leaders speechless. They knew they could not make grounds with her and gave up. America helped build China's earliest institutions of higher education. Their graduates have shaped modern China. Dr. Lin's story is still relevant and inspiring today. As we face the CCP's tyranny and aggression every day, we should remember having principles and speaking the truth will help us prevail. I hope Chinese students will one day be able to truly follow their school's models: freedom through truth for service, and self-discipline and social commitment through virtue. The two models sound similar, but the former came from the Bible, and the latter came from the ancient Chinese divination manual, I Ching, or the Book of Changes. Unfortunately, these two schools have deviated far from their models, and after decades of communist rule. I have a follow-up video next week that talks about how corrupt China's education system has become. Stay tuned. That's all for today. See you next time. Thank you.